The Anglo-American sees himself as the most important being that ever lived in our universe. To him, the rest of humanity is somewhat backward. He believes his ways are better, his standard of living is better, and his ethical code is better, although it is of minor importance. In fact, he believes that his whole way of life is the best in the world. He is appalled to find people on the face of the earth who are unable or unwilling to admit that the American way of life is the only way. My ancestors came from Mexico, one of the most civilized nations in the world. I'm not going to forget what they taught me. I'm proud of being an American, but I won't become a gringo. Now they're offering us equality. That's fine. I want to be equal before the law and have a chance to make money if I choose. But the Anglos are denying me the right to be myself. They want me to be like them. I want the chance to be a Mexican American and to be proud of that Mexican bit. The Anglos offer us equality, but whatever happened to freedom?
The realization of the injustice and the unfairness. Las Cruces at that time, in the early 70s, 80% of the student body was Chicano, Mexicano. 80% of the teaching faculty was Anglo. It didn't make sense. It ended up being, 3,000 kids in the streets. But I would say there was a core group that became the leadership, the organizers, the activists that shared some of the same experience of becoming CYA members, and then some of us Brown Berets, the activism, the organizing that took place. 72, of course, nationally a lot of activism was going on all across the country. Mm-hmm. The Chicano movement was full blown. The courthouse raid in 1967 here in New Mexico had already happened, and I had grown up in that movement. In terms of the land grant struggle, just to have that understanding, because I'm heredero, a land grant heir through both sides of my family, both with my mother and my father. And so that's a historical injustice that goes all the way back to 1846 and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, and that injustice that impacted all the people of the Southwest and how this became America to begin with. What we did in the barrio there in Las Cruces around Klein Park, a lot of that had already happened to sort of cut my teeth in terms of the movement and just being a part of it. There was affiliation both nationally and at a state level. Okay. Again, New Mexico was a lot of times in a lot of social movements, we're usually a couple of years behind the times. But already in the late 60s, Brown Beret activism was happening in California. Of course, the Crusade for Justice in Denver. In Texas, it was Jose Angel Gutierrez with the La Raza Unida party. So these are things going on all across the country, and of course the United Farm Workers and what they were doing with farm workers in Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, and that work. So we were attuned to that. So there was quite an age difference and experience difference and a lot more anger on their part, but the good thing of whatever they saw good in me or potential, that they took me under their wing. They gave me other leadership opportunities. They exposed me. There was a radical priest that later married my wife and I in 1980 by the name of Father Luis Jaramillo. And when the ceremony that we had those brown berets placed on us was life-changing. We were baptized into our brown berets, that we were called to serve our people. Wow. To be a Chicano, to be a brown beret meant you serve your familia, you serve your people, you serve your community.